What's up, YouTube? Okay, so I've got a video for you today I think you're going to really enjoy. It is a bunch of stuff that hopefully you should already know, and this is just a pleasant reminder. So it's Friday. Most people are excited because it's the weekend, right? Your typical 9-to-5 workers. And, even if you aren't a 9-to-5 worker, it's so weird how this still affects you. You think somehow Fridays are more exciting and Mondays are less exciting. And it takes quite a long time to reprogram that, but I figure, hey, you know what? Let's end the week on a strong note here and talk about 5 keys to success. Now, the interesting thing about a topic like this is there's actually a ton of keys to success. I'm working on a whole long list myself that I'm going to publish for really like the stuff that matters, okay? But I took 5 simple ones and big ones and I moved them into this, and here we go, talking about it with you today. So, the very first one is dream big. Now, this should be fairly obvious, and we're told to dream big as a kid, but something happens. Somewhere along the way, we stop dreaming big, and we just kind of settle into our role as a cog in the system. And all of our big dreams and aspirations, whether it was to be a firefighter, a police officer, an astronaut, whatever, as your kid, kind of goes away. And you could agree with me that as a kid, you have no skills, no clue, no nothing to, as a kid, dream of being an astronaut is a very big jump. It's almost comparable to being a teenager or adult and wanting to be a multimillionaire, or I would argue even billionaire, okay? Because with the way money's changing now, to be a millionaire isn't shit. You couldn't retire off of that. You're going to need $1 million plus per year to live anyways in the future. So, I consider that to be pretty similar. And the second thing you have to look at when it comes to dreaming big is that if you shoot for a $20,000 a year job, you'll probably get a $10,000 a year job. Just because you shot for 20 doesn't mean you're going to get 20. And you want to overshoot just so that you make sure you get what you actually do want to cover like the base amount of your needs and necessities, right? But there's more to it than that, because the deeper stuff that comes into play is that if your dream isn't big enough, when push comes to shove and when the pain sets in, it's not going to be big enough for you to keep going. That's why you need a big, bold dream. Because when it's 2 a.m. and nobody's around to pump you up, there's no Rocky music playing around in the background, there's nobody there to keep you pumped up and going, it's just you. And the first question you're going to ask, just like in physical training, the first question you ask is, why the fuck am I doing this? When it starts getting painful, that's the first question you ask. Running, training, lifting a lot, doesn't matter what facet of training the physical body. The first question that usually comes up, why am I doing this? Guess what? In business, when you're trying to build something, guess what the first thing that comes up is? Why am I doing this? It's 2 a.m. Why don't I just go to bed? I'll be fresher in the morning. And the excuse trail just starts. And it doesn't stop. Okay? So you got to have answers to the questions that you're going to ask yourself, that are going to pop into your head when things get really tough. And yeah, so it's got to be bigger than that. The dream itself, the payoff has to be bigger than that. Because remember, to every behavior, there is a payoff. There is some reward for everything you do. That's why you do it. We're not quite that simple, but how habits work is very simple. All right, so yeah, there's some sort of reward there. There's some sort of payoff. Well, if you have a big dream, then the payoff should be pretty fucking good, right? But if you got this small, little, teeny, tiny dream, first time you hit pain, you're just gonna be like, let me just go to bed, right? Plus, 2, it'll make it really easy for you to question, why am I trying to even be an entrepreneur? Why don't I just go work a job? Why don't I just go get my job back? And depending on how far away now you are from having that job, things obviously, the more relevant or close proximity to quitting your job, the easier it is to go back to the job. The longer you get, the further you get away. I just said that really bad, I know. The further you get away, the easier it becomes to stay in the entrepreneurial journey, right? Because you kind of recognize, like, look, there's really no way back. I'm not going back to that. We're so far from that now, right? Okay. Number 2, model and mirror. Now, this is an NLP term, but it's very simple to describe. What it means is that you find somebody with an attribute or a character trait or something that you want, and you model that behavior, what's cool is that we naturally do this anyway. When you get into a great conversation with somebody and you're on the same wavelength, you're vibing about the same stuff, and you're having a great conversation, you'll naturally start to sit like them. You'll naturally start to have similar mannerisms as them. That's called mirroring. And so you'll start to kind of act like them anyway. And we're all pretty much suckers for this. It's really hard to stop yourself, because when you feel it, you just kind of start doing it. And so you don't question it, you don't really stop it, it's just happening automatically. That's how easy it can be. For some reason, we tend to make it harder when we're consciously trying to do this. That's why everything is so easy at the subconscious level. As soon as you can get past and bypass the critical factors in the brain that are, judging and stopping data flow, it's very easy to actually make change deep down, okay? But, modeling and mirroring, an easy way to do this would be to go spend time with these people. And the more you get involved in the area of expertise that they have, because you naturally want that anyways, right? That's why you're modeling them in the first place. Then you're going to notice these feelings start to come up, and there you go. There's the trick. You'll start to behave like them. And how do I get there? How do I find those people? That leads us into success tip or key number 3, which is mentors. Mentors, mastermind group. I mean, this has been talked about since Think and Grow Rich. Every single successful business person talks about having a mentor. Bill Gates' mentor is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger are essentially mentors of each other and for each other. So everyone's got a mentor, all right? And this is a great way for you to get in with the people that you want to be like. Now, understand that when I say be like somebody, there's a lot of false idol syndrome that exists, and it's because you think like, gosh, LeBron James is so good at basketball, I want to be like him. Well, he might, look at the shit he said about China. I mean, he might be really shitty with his finances. He might be really, really awful with women. Do you really want to be like him? So you don't want to be like him. You want to play basketball like him. So stay focused on what you actually want from that person. There's a ton of great attributes to every single one of us. And there's probably a lot of bad attributes too. So just grab what you like. You don't have to go all in. Just because you like one Republican doesn't mean you need to be a Republican now. You can just like that guy, right? And that's something that I see people overly commit to, is they overly commit to the categorization and boxing of people, places, and things. Don't do that, okay? Just because it's a habit to do and it feels comfortable doesn't mean that you need to, all right? And you can survive without doing that as well. So, yes, this mentoring, this mastermind group, find a group of like-minded individuals or people that are great at the things you suck at so that it can rub off on you, or find that individual mentor that's in the place you want to be, and don't leave them alone until they say yes. That's the thing. Like, people are like, oh my God, I'm such a big fan. Like, being a fan and wanting them as a mentor is completely different, first off. But if you're going to just go to them the first time and they say no, because they'll always say no, and that's like it for you, well, then it must have not been that important anyways. Because if it's worth doing, it's worth going all the way. And you'd never quit in the middle, would you? Well, I mean, a lot of people do, so don't answer that, okay? But no, you should not be quitting in the middle of anything, okay? All right, number 4, mind games. So here's the cool thing. The mind doesn't know the difference between real and fake. Real and fake. Doesn't care, actually. When you go back in time and think of an old experience, if you can drum it up good enough and make it vivid enough, you'll start to feel the same shit all over again, don't you? Okay, we've seen this play out over and over and over again in sports. We've seen this with the placebo effect. You get a sugar pill, you cure yourself of cancer. What really went on there? Okay, the mind couldn't tell the difference. Jordan, Tiger Woods, Nicholson, all those are great examples, right? And there's a million others of people who would play the game in their mind before they even stepped on the court or the field. And this is what we need to do here. We need to play this mind game. Perception is reality. So we need to build up this future version, this version that we want, and we need to give it supporting evidence. And as the supporting evidence shows up in our life, we need to say, yeah, see, there it is. In the same way that your mind wants to build the case for everything being bad. Oh, yeah, see, that's why, life is bad. He cut you off. Oh, that's why life sucks. You got bills due. You're behind on this. It does it there just because that's your default. What we're talking about, reprogramming a new default. So we do the same thing, but we have to be aware of this consciously to begin with because it's a whole new thing. So we're just training a new area of muscle. And in the brain, the cool thing is that neurons that wire together fire together. Neuroplasticity. It's a very basic concept. So the more we do this, the more it'll just naturally start to do it itself. And it'll build this neural network itself so that when we trigger it, then it's a much bigger effect. Okay? So we got to do the same thing here. And then number 5, which you can see obviously in me and the videos that I shoot, is I'm really enthusiastic about what I'm talking about. I think I've always held enthusiasm since I started this channel. Maybe in the beginning I was a little bit shy, maybe a little bit nervous still. I think I was kind of dusting myself off from being insecure about speaking in front of people again. So enthusiasm is like the base foundational piece you need to do any sort of selling. In every conversation, somebody is selling, somebody is being sold. And enthusiasm makes a huge, huge fucking difference. Like, if you're enthusiastic, remember, what was it, Wolf of Wall Street? His story, Jordan Belfort's story. What did he say? You got to be enthusiastic as hell and sharp as a tack. Sharp as a tack doesn't mean that you like talk fast and slick. In fact, a lot of times how I speak in these videos is not the right way. And what I mean by that is I'm very articulate. And once I have a concept in my head, like I don't practice this, I don't fucking pregame this at all. I turn on the camera and I go. Now, to some people, that makes me too slick. To some people, that makes me too polished. So maybe I need to throw a little stutter in there, throw a little slowdown, mix up my words a little bit. Which, it's when I'm conscious of this, I do it more to slow myself down, or I bring the speed of my voice down like you just saw me do. Because I realize that like my enthusiasm and my excitement is like too much sometimes. And how that comes off is that this guy's slick. He's way too polished in this topic. How does he know all this off the top of his head? Right? So that doesn't discount enthusiasm though. Because to be the most enthusiastic guy in the room, you'll always fucking win. You'll win on every level. Everyone will want to talk to you. You'll have all kinds of new friends. And you're probably the guy getting business deals done. So I would say yes. Like, and also too, if you're not enthusiastic, doesn't that mean that you don't believe in what you're doing? And so that brings us into this whole other subtopic of passion. So there's a coincidence here, is that I'm insanely passionate about what I'm talking about, which therefore makes it easy to be enthusiastic. I don't think I could be that enthusiastic about shit I don't really care about. It's stuff that this is my passion. So it's hard for me to not be enthusiastic. It's hard for me to not think of what this might do for somebody hearing it, right? I always think of it like this. This is one of the big turning points for me, actually, I'm going to give you with my public speaking. I was terrified of it. I told you about this before. Almost failed high school because of it. But then I don't remember who said it. I don't remember who. But at some point I heard this, is they said, look, there's somebody in the audience that's dying today, and they need what you've got to say. And so cater your message, pretend like you're speaking to them face to face. And I don't know, it just stuck with me. And so now whenever I shoot a video, whenever I do stuff like this, I'm just pretending like I'm talking to that one person who's so fucked right now, who's hurting so bad inside. And I'm talking to them and I'm trying to like just wake them up. So anyways, that might help you, that might not. But okay, passion is a whole other topic. Now we've got this whole other sub-market of self-help / marketing that has to do with, passion over profits and 5 steps to find your passion. I don't know if it needs to be that difficult or like have this whole other multi-million-dollar market slivered out just for people trying to find their passion. I just think a lot of people are dead inside and they've never really asked or gone inside to see what they like. 87% of people are unhappy, according to a Gallup poll. So if that's the case, then maybe you've just been really unhappy for a long time. And so one could assume that as soon as I start a fitness program and as soon as I really start getting after it, even if I have no clue what my passion is yet, I'll be able to find my passion faster. Does that make sense? So all I got to really do is, it shouldn't be super complicated. It should just be get moving, get the excitement, get the momentum, get yourself up off your ass, get yourself looking at yourself in the mirror again, that certain way that you used to, get your health back, because that's usually, goes hand in hand. I don't know what my passion is. Well, you're not really fucking doing much either, are you? Kind of sitting around all the time, right? Unhappy at your job all the time, complacent, eating bad. Well, success leaves clues, so does failure. So all those are failure traits. All that is failure mentality. How are you going to be creative and tap into that part of your brain if you're filling a fuel tank with poop? So I don't think it should be that hard. I think it really just boils down to start getting moving, get the momentum, and then you'll start to get the creativity back. Because that's all we're really trying to do. We're just trying to tap into a creative state. Whatever you got to do that, have at it. Sit down with a dry, whiteboard and all your paints if you're an artist type, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Get out the graphic design stuff and go after it that way. It doesn't really matter, but the key here is to get moving on something. And once you got that passion, it's easy to be enthusiastic, like I said. So anyways, that's it. That's all I've got for you. That's my 5 keys to success. Those obviously aren't the only ones. If you are interested in this sort of thing, I do have a program that goes into specific exercises to get you to tap into this and link it up with your dreams that you want. And it's called Peak Mindset Principles. The link will be underneath this video, and check it out. Read the sales page. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff in there that you didn't really know about me, and who knows, it might just strike a chord, and it might just be the thing you're looking for today. Outside of that, thumbs it up, comment below with what you got to say, and then subscribe and turn on the bell notification. You notice how the last couple videos, we might start to get something going here with the views, so I'm going to keep hitting this, and let's see. But I need your help, and your help is very simple. Thumbs it up and turn on the bell notifications so that you can come on in here and check this stuff out once I upload. All right, see ya.